Hey, everybody. It is Thursday night and doing something a little bit different. Did this last week for the first time, doing it again this week. It is time for the 49ers Fan Roundtable. Tonight, joining me, I have Barry a Baller up there in the top next to me. And then right down below, we have Aaron from 49ers First Takes. How you guys doing tonight?
Feeling good, Jack. Thanks for getting me on here. I'm pumped up to do some buy or sell. Aaron, nice to see you as well, but
You
I'm
too, my
feeling
friend.
good.
Yeah, I got the invite the other day, and I was like, "Oh hell yeah!" So, absolutely. Anytime I don't have to be the host, it's always a good thing.
That sounds like me. That's how I am too. Really quick before we get started, we got some folks in the comment section. Want to shout them out. Raphael 5629ers, who is also a member of the Toolbox. Thank you very much, Raphael 5629ers. He says, "What's up, Jack and everyone? What's up? Looking forward to doing this Thursday night. Getting ready for some people it's going to be a 4 or 5 day weekend. So looking forward to this. It's going to be fun." Then we have Dusty Gold. He says, "What's up, Jack and Baller?" I think he says hi to you too as well, Aaron.
That's okay. He probably doesn't know me. Hi.
And then we've got Harold in here. Harold's always in here as well. He says, "Hello, everyone." So hello, Harold.
Hola.
And then Andrew was over watching my show on the Hammer and Nail show, and he says, "I ain't done with Jesse." So he's right. He was fired up. He was not liking the discussion that had to happen around Jimmy Garoppolo. It was all fun though. There you go. There you go. There's Dusty saying welcome, Aaron, as well. So
Sweet.
It's going to be fun. So we're going to do a little bit, kind of with these kind of shows. It's I find that doing, to kind of keep the momentum. We have a bunch of different topics. Everybody kind of chips in, and so we're going to do buy it or sell. So we're going to throw a topic out. It's basically a statement, and you're either going to buy it or sell it. If you agree with it, you're buying it. If you disagree, you're going to sell it. So let's get started to the first one, and this has been a topic of conversation throughout. Part of this has been a topic of conversation throughout the offseason. Buy or sell. Is Deebo Samuel going to get a new contract before Garoppolo is moved? So buy or sell, that's what actually takes place. What do you think, Aaron?
I think buy. I think the Jimmy Garoppolo situation is not going to. It's going to take a while to play out, as has been so far. With the throwing after, being, doing what do you call rehab and all that stuff from the shoulder surgery in March. I've had shoulder surgery twice, and it's rehab's no joke. And it's been minor surgery both times for me, but it's at least a 3-month rehab stint of physical therapy. So it'll be interesting. I mean, he I think back when pre-draft and all that stuff, had he not been injured, we wouldn't be talking. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo would have been long gone. But unfortunately, the way him and his agent played things and decided to wait, he's still waiting to be cleared. And then, of course, we have to wait to see if his physical passes. And then after that, he's, I guess, got to throw. And then if he does well with both of those things, then maybe a trade commences, but there's not a huge market out there for him, to be honest with you. There's the kind of talk of maybe the Browns, but do they really want to spend money again on another quarterback? And then, of course, the Carolina situation. If the Niners are to make a move with him, they're going to have to eat some of that salary because ain't nobody picking up that amount of money. So I think Deebo's contract gets done first. There's been some talk. I don't know if it's true or not that the Niners have an idea now what they think his contract's going to be with the latest signing the other day of Terry McLaurin. So I think Deebo gets his contract first.
Yeah, I'm with you, Aaron. I'm buying this as well. The 49ers have signed their guys right before training camp, right, in terms of Kittle and Warner, and I'm expecting that here. And I don't think the Jimmy Garoppolo saga is going to be resolved, like you said. And I'm hearing the Browns talk. I don't think it's happening. I don't see the Browns as a legit place for Jimmy Garoppolo to end up via trade. Now, they signed Jacoby Brissett, right? They have Watson, right? But they signed Jacoby Brissett knowing that a Watson suspension was possible. So they already got their guy. And Baker's still on the roster. So there's still a lot of parts over there. I don't expect a trade. And to be honest, the reason why Jimmy's on this team, I wouldn't say it's so much as the shoulder surgery. I've always said, I didn't expect there to be a market for Jimmy even before the surgery, and that's because he's mediocre and expensive. And injury prone. You can add that to the list. So the shoulder surgery fits right in, but I don't think Jimmy has any trade value, and that's why I'm thinking I'm buying it. Deebo's going to get his contract.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with I'm going with the sell on this one. I think that Jimmy's going to get moved before something's going to happen there before the Deebo deal gets done. I think Deebo, like you said, is going to get done right at the end of, in training camp or right before training camp. So it's going to be coming up at the end of July. So we still have about a month left of that. I think something's going to happen with Garoppolo prior to that. I don't think that he's going to make it to training camp with the team, whether they trade him or release him. So I'm going to go with the sell on this one. Deebo's not going to get his contract first. We're going to see something happen with Garoppolo. And it's not that one thing has to happen for the other. It can work right now. They can sign Deebo Samuel to the same contract that who was it?
McLaurin?
That McLaurin just got from Washington. They can give him that same deal, 100%, and be fine and not have to worry about moving anybody. So they don't have to do one for the other, but I just think that Garoppolo's deal is going to happen first. He's going to go somewhere or be cut.
I just think
All right.
this is. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just can't believe it's almost July tomorrow, and we're still talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. The Deebo thing is
still drawing pictures. She's still on the hook.
It's amazing that there's people out there that are still defending him and trying to throw out stats, and I'm just like, guys, it's over. It's Trey's team. But no, just the Jimmy thing is something that I just can't believe. I love Grant when he makes his little videos and it's like day whatever, blah blah blah, and the Niners, Jimmy Garoppolo is still a 49er. The one that he did where he cuts himself off swearing was the best thing I've ever seen, personally. But as far as Deebo goes, yeah, I think that's going to be right. I mean, the Niners seem to do their contracts a certain way, and I don't see anything any different.
Yeah. I just think it's going to be the delay there. Did you have something you wanted to add, Baller?
No, I'm good.
No, you're good. All right. Let's take this next one. You're gonna kick it off. Since we talked about Garoppolo, we're just gonna go straight to that one for the next one. Buy or sell? Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be cut.
Ooh, I got a bold take on this one. So I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be cut. But I want to throw this out there, and I want to get your opinion on this. If we wait as long as possible to cut Jimmy Garoppolo, we're talking right before week 1, the 49ers can do it, right? And we got to pay him whatever, the $2 million. That's nothing. And so if we wait as long as possible, we cut him. How much would a team pay him? Because I'm looking at bringing him back at a discount, right? Because if we can cut him or restructure, right? I feel like I got to add that. And it might be a restructure and drop him down from his cap hit, what's 27 mil down to 10 mil. Because I don't think he's going to get a $10 million offer from any other team. People would say, okay, well, why would Jimmy come back for less money? I don't think another team is going to pay him 10 mil this season, right? The season's about to start. It's hard to learn an NFL playbook. That's no easy task. That's going to take 4 or 5 weeks just to learn the playbook and be able to play, right? So the $10 million offer the 49ers could make to him might be the most money he gets. I want to hear you guys' opinion on that. Is that possible, or am I out of my mind?
No, I think that I think you make some really good points, because I've heard a lot this week about how the 49ers, about how Garoppolo and his representation kind of screwed themselves with this deal, kind of trying to force the 49ers' hand, not allowing them to be traded, all those kind of things. To me, that never made sense, because to me, I never thought he was going to make $25.5 million anywhere else, because that's what the cash that Garoppolo is this year, is $25.5 million. I never expected him to get that from anybody else. So from that standpoint, I don't think he's going to get that money. Would he be willing to take less money to stay with the 49ers? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the ship has sailed with him in San Francisco, and I think he wants to get out in any way possible. So the only way to do that would be to cut him and then re-sign him. And I don't see once they cut him, because if they do the other way, Eric, they've got to somehow, he's got that money, and it's, you'd have, that would become dead cap and those kind of things. If the 49ers are fine with keeping him, but knowing that they're going to have some money on the books in 2023 and 2024, or maybe just 2023, that, is Jimmy Garoppolo, even though he's not on the roster, then maybe they do that. But otherwise, it's going to have to be cut and then re-sign. And I don't think that Garoppolo, once he's on the market, is going to say, I want to come back to you.
Yeah,
I got you.
I buy him being cut too. I just don't think there's a market for him, to be honest with you. I think that ship sailed back in early March, before he got for him and his agent decided to pull a fast one and kind of stick it to the 49ers, because I think that's exactly what they did. I don't know. I mean, it's not, I don't have facts, but that's just how it feels. Mm-hmm. And no, I Baller, I love you, but I just can't see him being on this roster. I think he said his goodbyes last year. I forgot who I was watching. He really kind of made a point to talk about how it might have been Matt Mayoka pretty much saying like he said his goodbyes, and we got a little emotional, but I don't know if he was asked how awkward last year was, and he pretty much said it was a pretty awkward situation. Mm-hmm. This is Trey's team. Trey needs no distractions, no storylines that are anything pro Jimmy. Jimmy is gone. Unfortunately, this is John Lynch is going to have a lot of egg on his face with this one, because he swore that the Niners, were going to get something of value for Jimmy, and there's nothing there for him, man. Why would you pay that kind of money for a guy who's got a bum shoulder, who's like Baller said is mediocre? So yeah, I think I buy he gets cut.
Well, the way that you do it is if you're a guy, and this is why I'm selling this, that he's going to be cut. I think he's going to get traded, and I think he's going to end up. I understand all the smoke is going to Cleveland, and I've always kind of gone against the times, and that doesn't always pay off for me on these things. But I mean, I feel like he's going to end up in Carolina. If you're Matt Rule, who has won 5 games your first 2 seasons, they don't have a quarterback on the roster that's going to win more than 5 or 6 games for him. I mean,
I know, but they just drafted Corral. I mean, Corral's there, but he's probably not a day 1 starter.
He's not a day 1 starter. He might be a year 2 or 3 starter. He was drafted in what round? Third or fourth, whatever it was, I think. I don't think they expect him to be a day 1 starter. I think they expect him to be maybe in year 2. They want to, get him up and running and stuff like that. So I just feel like what's going to happen is they need a quarterback. They're going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. That's a spot where, Baller, like what you're talking about, that's where Garoppolo would be okay making a deal. He'd be fine. Hey, I'm going somewhere new. If you're going to give me my $25.5 million, it's going to be a restructured deal, but he's still going to get that money. And it might be spread out over 2 years, but he's still going to be able to do it. And that would help the Panthers out for a couple of years, give them somebody in there that I think can help them win some more games than what they've been doing. Keep the head coach employed and move on from there. At least that's the direction I think is going to happen.
Hey, I hope you're right, because a trade would be what's best for the Niners, right? Because we're getting rid of the whole contract and we're getting compensation back. So I hope you're right, Jack.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't. At this point, I'm not expecting it to be a high end pick. I know Adam Schefter said at one point it was as high as a second or more. I don't think that's going to anywhere near that. And even if unless maybe it's a pick for 2024, right? Unless they take it, they say, just give us a higher pick 2 years from now. We'll do it that way. Or it's a pick that's a third or a fourth, depending on how well he plays all of next year, and it's going to be 2 years. You know what I mean? Whatever, those kind of things. Otherwise, it's going to be a low round pick, somewhere between 5 and 7.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on regardless. I'm tired of the conversations, the arguments, people have their viewpoints on this, and it gets fiery, and it's just wow.
I'd rather argue about Jimmy Garoppolo than hearing the same guy on my Twitter tell me that Trey Lance is bad on third down. I get the same tweet from the same guy over and over and over again, and it doesn't even matter what I say. Sometimes he says that, and it's like, I don't really care what you're saying because what you just did actually helped my argument. So, it's just, and you guys know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna quit even talking about that guy.
I don't know who that is. I know there's that other guy that got interviewed today on YouTube. Jet Scout. That goofball.
Well, there's him, and then he's got some other egos that are out there too.
Some burner accounts.
I don't know if he has burner accounts, but they sure sound a lot like him. All right, so let's move off of the quarterbacks just for a minute. I know everybody loves talking about the quarterbacks around San Francisco, but they do have 51 other guys on the roster. Buy or sell, most 49er vets are going to sit out the preseason and have reps reduced in training camp. I think this one goes back to you, Aaron.
I buy. I posed this question to you, and you were kind of, asking us for topics and stuff.
Uh-huh.
It's just, if there's enough players on this roster who are set to be starters, and training camp really is not going to do anything to change that depth of certain players, like your Bosa's, your Warner's, your Azeez El-Shairs, your Greenlaws. I mean, those two can get kind of flip-flopped. Ward's going to, be a starter. Chavarius Ward's going to be a starter. I mean, there's so many positions. Offense, too. I think the offensive line and Trey Lance may be the ones that I could say, like, maybe they need to get some serious time together in the preseason. But, man, the games that don't count, I don't want to see my best players on the field for any reason. I feel like training camp is where you get a lot of answers more than preseason games, because the reps are so short usually in preseason games, and teams usually know what they got within their building during training camp, during the what do they call it, the dog days of summer, when it's the real bulk of training camp. So to me, other than a handful of players, mainly offensive line, maybe slot corner, and Talanoa Hufanga, there's a lot of players on this roster that are pretty much set. So I buy sitting guys and reducing reps in training camp.
So I'm selling it, but I'm kind of copping out. I'm really analyzing these words. I don't think it's going to be most of the 49ers vets. Some of them, the superstars, yeah, let's scale them back. But I don't think it's going to be most of the vets, because you need to get to work during training camp,
right,
and during the preseason. I understand the stars, the Bosas and the Kittles and the Warners and the Trent Williams of the world. But the rest of the guys, I think they should be out there competing. So I just, with the play on words, I'm selling it. The stars can rest, but everyone else, they need to get after it during training camp and preseason.
I think that's. Oh, go ahead, Jack.
No, go ahead, Aaron.
No, I in a way, I guess I could buy or sell this, but I agree with you. The main guys, your stars, the people that make the big bucks, that are top 5.
Wrap them up in bubble wrap. We don't need them getting hurt.
Yeah, Warner, Ward, Bosa, Kittle, Deebo. I mean, I know Deebo maybe needs some reps just because he hasn't done anything, but man, you really just. I get scared. I mean, say what you want about the Rams and how they do stuff. Listen, they keep their guys rested in the preseason. It doesn't matter to them. And then come week 1, they're ready to roll. So, but yeah, I'm going to buy it only because that's kind of what I said. But I agree with you, Baller, as far as your core guys.
Yeah. So when I look at this, it's kind of almost 2 questions in one. Or 2 topics. I'm buying that most vets are going to sit out the preseason. You start to look at it. Trent Williams isn't going to be taking reps in the preseason. I doubt we see Mike McGlinchey at all during the preseason games. I doubt we even see Javon Kinlaw in there. Nick Bosa doesn't usually play in these games, and Fred Warner and so on. So there's going to, you can pretty well point out who's going to be on the field and who's not when it comes to the preseason games. But if you're asking me about the training camp piece, I'm more apt to sell that one. So I'm buying the games, but I'm selling the reps in practice, because they're going to get those reps there. They're just not where it's more of a controlled environment. They're going to get them there. Last year, I'm pretty sure Trent Williams was taking all the reps at left tackle most of the time, with the starting unit. Nick Bosa, for example, not so much. He's letting somebody else take those reps as he, it took Nick Bosa up until after the 53-man cut down, I think it was, before he took part in those drills beyond just doing the individuals portion of it. So I think it's a mix of both of those, but it's more going to be preseason out, training camp in, because they need to get those reps, and that's where they get them.
Yeah, I still worry regardless. This team has been so snake bitten.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how they lost Tarvarius Moore and Justin School, right? It was just they didn't even have any pads on when that happened. Yeah,
they lost not Juwan Jennings. Was it Jalen Hurd got hurt in a side field at one point when he was still on this team?
What about McKinnon? Was McKinnon training camp too?
Yeah, wasn't it like the practice right before the beginning of the season? Like final. It was like a Wednesday or Thursday practice.
Yeah, so it's happened.
His knee popped, and that was the end of that. That was like,
and they paid him big money too. When we signed him, and we paid him that money, I was surprised. Like,
for a guy who was never a proven starter, you're like,
I think the McKinnon deal was like right after it was like the first practice after they did the cut down to 53. That first practice with the full team, and it popped on him.
That's terrible timing.
Yeah, it was really bad. They were expecting a lot from him and so on, and it never materialized. And we saw it actually help out Kansas City a little bit last year instead. So, yeah, but I'm with you guys on that one. And real quick, Raphael 5629ers, member of the toolbox, says like and subscribe, everyone. Yes, please do that. Please. The more subscribers and the more likes, it's really the likes that really drive things around here on when it comes to the algorithm of YouTube, helping us get in front of more people. And then the next one, we're gonna go. We start off with the quarterbacks. Now we're gonna get a little defensive here. So let's try not to argue too much. But buy or sell, Jason Verrett is going to start opposite of Charvarius Ward.
Well, I'm selling that. We got Emmanuel Mosley. I'm a big E-Man fan. Shout out to my boy D-Hack. He got me a Emmanuel Mosley cameo for my birthday. This was last summer. E-Man was talking to me with no shirt on. It was great. So I'm a big Emmanuel Mosley fan. But no, Jason Verrett, he's a guy I'm looking at towards maybe the latter portion of the season. Potentially someone, God forbid, someone goes down, knock on wood, don't want it to happen, but someone goes down week 10, 11, 12. Maybe Verrett at that point is ready to step in. But I'm not expecting much from him week 1. Who knows? He might start the year on PUP. But Emmanuel Mosley's still on this roster.
Yeah, I look at of course, Charvarius Ward is penciled in, of course. Yeah, I'm a Mosley guy too, big time. When I look at Verrett, I don't want to have to count on him. I want him to be kind of like the ace in the hole, like the guy that we can go to, like you said, if there's an injury, somebody's not playing up to snuff, maybe in the slot. I know a lot of people say keep him out of the slot because there's a lot of activity in the slot and a lot of bodies, especially if you have to support up in the run game and stuff. But man, Verrett, I kind of lost my faith in him last year. Not as a player. He's fantastic when he's healthy. He's never healthy. Somebody put up some video from him back in like 2015 covering what's his name, who's not in the league
Antonio
anymore.
Brown.
Yeah, and he was locking him up like for real. And people are like, people fall for it every single offseason. They do this every single offseason. Oh man, if he could just stay healthy. To me, it's one of those things where like you can't count on him. He needs to be a guy that is depth. Great, I would, if he plays well enough, I say, try to get him into the lineup in some way, form or fashion, whether it's slot, maybe. I don't know. Somehow you get him in there, but I don't want to count on him because when you count on him, his body breaks down. So I am going to sell Jason Verrett. I am going to buy Charvarius Ward, but I'm with Baller. I'm all about E-Man. I'm on the E-Man train. So hopefully we don't have to worry about injuries as much this year, but knowing our team and knowing just the NFL in general, there's going to be someone. So who knows? But yes, sell for sure.
This is a tough one because if Jason Verrett is healthy, are you really going to sit him if he's healthy? Because I think he is better than Emmanuel Moseley when he's healthy. Is there an option to rent on this thing where I don't have to buy or sell, but I can just rent some space for a little while?
It's your channel. You want to rent? We can maybe.
No, I'm going to if I'm going to buy this. If Jason Verrett's healthy, you start him. Because if he's healthy, he's your best option. And now it's last year, right, when they re-signed him last year. If you followed me at all last year, when they re-signed him last year, you heard me say that I didn't like it. I didn't understand what the Mariners were doing there. They didn't. When you looked at their secondary, they had a bunch of rookies and guys you didn't know anything about at that point. And it was either going to, it's going to be Jason Verrett and Moseley, and then a bunch of who knows what. And if Verrett goes down, what are they going to do? Yada yada yada. It's not like that anymore, though. Now you can play Jason Verrett because you have Emmanuel Moseley and you have Travarius Ward. You got better depth now. So if Verrett is the guy that you're running with and he's healthy week 1 and you start him, if he falters, you can go back to Emmanuel Moseley and we'll see what happens. I think this is going to be a really exciting training camp with some positions, and this is one of them I'm really looking forward to because if Verrett can come out and be healthy and outperform Moseley, I think he should be the guy that gets the start.
He's someone in training camp who I wouldn't give a ton of reps to. Verrett.
No, and the only thing I love Verrett. The only thing that concerns me is I feel like after an ACL injury, sometimes it takes a little more than a year, maybe a year and a half or so. So I don't know about it immediately. I'm hoping later on down the line, he's a potential replacement if somebody gets dinged up, but I'm not expecting it week 1.
Yeah, maybe he's a guy. Maybe maybe it's a sell when it comes to week 1, but if we're talking about over the year, maybe it's going to be a buy. I like what you're saying because maybe that's what they've said, that they're going to take it easy with him, right? So maybe that's what happens. Maybe it's week 1. It's going to be Moseley while Verrett is on the PUP at that point, and then they reverse it. Then down the road as they wear on, it's all depth and they can move guys around and they have all kinds of little pieces here. It's going to be, I think, fun to watch. Real quick, I'm going to bring on another guy. We got Wayne. He's driving though. Look at this guy. He's driving and he's calling in and talking to us. This is going to be like Fast and the Furious.
This is a little nerve wracking, but it's breezy, man.
Got it. Look, both hands on the steering wheel. I'm good. I'm looking directly where I'm supposed to be doing. I'll be home in like 5-10 minutes, but I just wanted to jump on because I'm late because I had this show and it just went over. You know how it be. But man, I'm listening to you guys. You guys sound good, man. I like this, man. Buy or sell Jason Verrett. Who's starting next to Travarius Ward? Everybody's saying it should be Moseley, which it should be, especially if he's taking all the reps and practice. Either way, it's a win-win for us, right?
Yeah, I think so. If they're both healthy, which direction do you go?
I mean, if they're both healthy, I want to go Verrett. I just think you go Verrett just because of the veteranship. He's a lockdown corner. Now you got 2 locks, and then you can move Moseley to the slot, or you can move Verrett to the slot. A lot of people feel like Verrett could play in the slot. I don't see it, but a lot of people feel because he'll be taking less reps. But I think our base package is going to be nickel anyway. So, whoever's going to start in the slot, I just think it's a bonus. I would go with Verrett, though. I think healthy Verrett and Travarius Ward, who we've never, ever seen before, that should be like islands on both sides.
Man, we are split down the middle on this one. Me and Baller versus Jackhammer and Breezy. That is ridiculous.
Right down. No, and I'm with you. That sounds good. And when it comes to the slot, that's going to be an interesting one because I don't think either of these guys that we're talking about, meaning Moseley or Verrett, are really guys that they want to be playing in the slot. So I think it might even be like what Baller was saying, and he kind of pulled me over to his side a little bit, where maybe it's going to be Verrett holding off, and then if Moseley goes down, which if you've watched for Emmanuel Moseley, he's a good player, but he also has the injury bug around him, and so maybe they can go one way, go with him, and then bring him. It's going to be fun to watch. I don't know. I'm all over the board on this one, as you guys can tell.
Well, it feels like our depth, at least, is better this year as opposed to last year, right? Where we had to go out and grab Josh Norman. We're trying to Drake Kirkpatrick's a nightmare. So it feels like our depth, with
so
Ambry
bad.
Thomas in the fold and Demo, and Womack.
Norman,
we got some guys.
Josh Norman led the league in forced turnovers. Y'all gonna put some respect on that brother. That he couldn't cover a bug, but he was leading the league with 4 summers.
He was punching balls out.
That's what happens when you're getting burnt. You got to figure out a way to catch up. You can't
It
catch up, just punch the
matter.
ball.
Yo, it doesn't matter. You punch out the ball, and our guys just got to get it.
Hey, there you go. I was going to mention the old peanut punch, but I'm glad you did it instead of me. And they start talking about punching and all those kind of things. We'll stop right there. But since we're already talking DBs and we were talking nickel just a minute ago and slot, that leads us perfectly into this next one. And it's going to be buy or sell. Darqueze Dennard is going to be starting at nickel. The nickel starting. And what do you say, Wayne? You agree with that or not? You say you buy that or you sell it?
Again, it's tough. He's had a pretty good mini camp. He's looking like he's going to be that guy, but this rookie they drafted who sounds like he's going to be on the come up, man. Samuel Womack III. I think they're looking there. Dante Johnson is another vet that can play all over in the secondary. But I'm all in on Darqueze, man. He showed you what he can do once he gets acclimated to the system. Now he's having a full mini camp, a full OTA, and now a full training camp with this team, with this defense. I think he might be a problem in that nickel spot. So I'm buying this right here.
I'm selling it. Sorry, Wayne, but hey, I got to say what's up. I never worked with Wayne before. Big fan. So I'm happy to work with you. But I got to sell this because Darqueze Dennard, this guy was bouncing around practice squads last year. And I'm looking at the youngsters, right, Womack, but really the guy I'm eyeing who doesn't have a lot of buzz right now is Diamador Lenore. I like me some Demo. I thought he got a bad rap last year. I didn't think he was that bad. I thought he was all right. And really, I think he profiles better into the slot. PFF called him the best tackling corner the year he came out of that draft. He was the best tackling corner. What do the Niners like from their corners? Or when you look at K1, we're blitzing them. We need him to be puffing the run. So that's where I'm looking at Demo, or Womack, one of the younger guys, to fulfill that slot role.
To me, it's all a giant question because I'm not extremely versed on Dennard. I don't know much about him, so I'm not going to lie and act like I do. And I've heard the same thing as Breezy has, a lot of buzz about Womack. And to me, it's a mix of whoever loses out on the starting corner position. If you guys say that Verrett wins it, and that kicks Mosley inside, some mix of Mosley, Ambry Thomas, or Womack as my slot corners. It's just I don't know enough about Dennard to make and have an opinion. And like I said, I am the type of person that I go and I listen to opinions of people that know what they're talking about and who have an idea about football just a little bit when it comes to Womack. So those are kind of my guys right now. So I'm gonna sell Dennard at nickel.
All right. Well, you guys come back to me, and I really like Darqueze Dennard. This is a guy that I think fits in really well. He profiles really well for the 49ers in there, especially with the way that they utilize that guy as their third linebacker. He has the size, he has the thickness of a guy that's going to be able to fit in the run more than the other cornerbacks. So from that standpoint, that's where I like him, and I feel pretty good about Darqueze Dennard. I'm going to say this, though. Samuel Womack, if whoever it was, I don't remember which one of the three of you made the point, but it was a really good one. The Flyers are going to spend a lot of time in their nickel this year when you look at the opponents that they're playing against. So this guy is going to be really important. I think Samuel Womack, from a coverage standpoint, is hands down the guy. He's shown it already. When it comes to man coverage, he can play with anybody in there. When it comes to the zone stuff, he's going to struggle a little bit. He kind of gets lost at times when he's playing inside. He was more of an outside when he was playing on the outside at Toledo. He was pretty good, but you've got the sidelines to help you there. Whereas when you're on the inside, you don't have that, right? Because you've got both sides to go, and he's just got to get a little bit better feel of it, and that's going to come. So I think at some point Samuel Womack's going to be the guy, and I think that Darqueze Dennard is going to push him though.
Jack, I want to ask you. You're talking about man and zone. this might be a tad off topic, but D'Amico Ryans, what do you see this defense doing in turn? Like, I know we're going to have a combo. There's going to be some kind of combo, right? We're not going to play exclusively man or exclusively zone, but do you expect it to lean man or lean zone? What do you think it was last year, and what do you expect this year?
I think it's going to be a little bit more man now. I think they wanted to go more man last year, but they couldn't because the corners couldn't keep up. And so they had to protect them. Once Verrett went down, everything had to kind of be redone. And then they had to go back to just play. They had to play softer zones. And I think they tried to play man early on. And that's why they were having so much trouble with the pass interference and stuff like that, because the ball is going over their head and they're beat. And so they're having to chase it down and they don't know where the ball is. And so now they're running into the guy. So that's why they started playing more zone. I think now with Charvarius Ward, that helps him out because he's really good in that way. And now you've got two guys in Verrett and Mosley on the other side that can play man. You've got a guy in Womack who can play man all over the field. So you marry that up with this pass rush, I think they have a really good chance of playing a lot of man and being very good.
And not only are they going to play man, you're going to see a lot of more press man. So, like, this is Ambry Thomas's strength. Right, this is the guy that likes to get you up at the beginning, jam you up there on that line of scrimmage. He has that kind of speed to catch up if you happen to get past him. I think him working on his technique this year is going to be crazy. You might get press man on one side, a little off coverage on the other. I hated when they made Ambry Thomas back up Richard Sherman depth. I was like, what are they doing? That is not his strength. But it was to keep stuff underneath, for him. And he was a pretty good tackler, but I think we are going to see a lot of more man concepts. You're still going to see zone, some cover two, maybe some cover one, some single high safety, because you got two interchangeable guys. The one thing I like about the safeties, they're interchangeable, right? So they can play, one can play deep. You can have the other one up there in the box or however you want to do it toward the line of scrimmage or whatever. But again, it depends on how these guys are coming out in these sets. And I said that we were going to be more in that nickel package, basically, because I think you got a lot of teams with 3 wide receivers now. I don't know. The NFL is changing. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm buying this Darqueze Dennard, because I feel like he can keep up with the best. You got a veteran in there. I love Samuel Womack. I thought that was a great pick. But I thought, like Jack said, he played way more outside coverage in college. Just one game he played inside, and everybody's saying he's this nickelback. I don't get it.
He's the thing with him though is he's really good with his hands and he's fast
and long arms, right?
Right, which is why, and he's kind of the only guy that they have that, and that's why I feel like he can play in the slot. I think he's a guy that they're going to start off playing in the slot, and he's going to transition to outside eventually with him. But this year, the focus is going to be on him playing inside. It's funny because watching him, he started playing outside throughout during OTAs and rookie minicamp and the beginning of OTAs. He was playing outside almost exclusively. Had a couple of reps inside, but then as it went on, he became exclusively inside. So it's going to be interesting to see where they line him up when we get up there in July.
The thing I can't stand about zone coverage, especially, is if you have an inability to get to the quarterback. Guys clear zones, they're open, and it becomes pitch and catch. So I'm glad Baller brought that up. I'm definitely looking forward to the Niners playing a little more aggressive, a little bit more man-to-man, up in your face man-to-man. I've always been a fan of man-to-man defense. I just think I don't know. It says you're confident and you're cocky that I got this guy one-on-one, me versus you. Whereas zone defense is kind of, I hate keeping in front of you football. Drives me absolutely insane because you get these easy completions, especially to a guy like Cooper Kupp. I mean, he just killed us on that stuff. So I'm hoping we go more man to man. I'm praying for it because to me that's real football. So we'll see.
I'm gonna keep it a buck though. Hey, Cooper Kupp, man, he I don't care what type of defense you play, he's hard to cover, man. Man coverage, zone coverage, double man. That guy finds a way to get open because he's just so shifty, man. He's and quick, so he gets open. But I'm with you, bro. And the hardest part about zone, a lot of people think for me, it's the communication, right? So it's Babe being in his spot, you being in your spot, Jack being in his spot, and we all gotta know where your spots are. Am I passing it off to you? So you saw a lot of miscommunication last season in the zone. And it's just because, those guys were young. They were trying to figure it out. And you even saw it with the vets like Jimmy Ward out of sync and things like that. So I'm loving this man concept. I'm assuming that's what we're going to go with. I think we have the actual personnel to do it. So it should be fun to watch this year.
Yeah,
and I'm with you. Sorry, Jack. Can I jump in? I just want to talk about the man real quick. I'm expecting more cover one with Jimmy Ward in center
Single
field.
high.
And if you
Yes,
ask
sir.
Bill Belichick, you ask Nick Saban kind of what their philosophy is, you got to mix it up, right? You can't give the same look all game. But cover one, Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, they'll tell you that's the best prototypical defense. And I'm expecting Jimmy Ward in center field and Talanoa Hufanga as a robber. So he's playing the run down low. He can jump some routes because Hufanga's instinctive. But I'm sorry, Jack, I'll kick it to you.
No, that's good. No, that was good. I was listening to what you're saying. I was joking around, acting like I was mad. But no, I think that in some ways I think when you talk about your piece right there, what you just said right now, it's a mix and match of Ward and Hufanga, because you don't want Hufanga in man coverage down, even if it's underneath all that often. You want him to be playing more of the single high because Ward's the better guy at that. It'll be fun to see how that plays out. But I don't know. I had a really good take, and then you interrupted me, and I forgot what I was going to say. It had to do with something that I think was Aaron. Aaron, I think, was talking. It was really good too, and I was like going to jump off of that, but that's all right. We've talked about this one enough. We know. I think we have a pretty good feeling. Oh, I know what it was. It was about the zone coverage and all that kind of stuff. Because last year the 49ers pass rush was too good for a defense that only got the amount of turnovers that they did. So they need to tighten up the coverage, because you tighten up that coverage, you let the pass rush still is going to do what it does, but the ball should be tighter. That's where you're going to get the turnovers. You got to have that tighter coverage. You don't really get that in the zone. They're just playing so soft last year. So that's what I was going to say. So
can I say one thing?
Jump over. Oh, no. Go ahead.
No more? No,
Go ahead.
it might have been you that said this, Jack, but you said that, if the Niners decide, and because they've upgraded corner, that it would put less onus on their safeties. And a guy like Hufanga being maybe inexperienced or not as, I don't know, proficient in coverage, it would put less pressure on them, that the fact that they're going to rely more on the skill of, say, lockdown corners than the way they were playing things before. I don't know who said it, but they said that this defense, if they decide to go man-to-man, would actually kind of take the pressure off a guy like Hufanga, who's, pretty inexperienced. He got his reps last year, but, he would definitely, to me, was in coverage, was very much a liability.
Yeah, I'd say that to you at one point. At least I know I did at one point. Maybe it was somebody else that you heard say it. But yeah, I just feel like if you're jamming guys and stuff, he's not going to have free runners sprinting at him from across the field and things like that, like we saw Arizona do to him on that one big hit that everybody likes to show or talk about to show how bad he was last year. The one that went over the top of him. They're able to stop him, all that. But yeah, we'll see how that one works out. But since we're talking defense real quick, I was going to save this question to last, but it really works so well. This isn't a buy or sell one, but who do you guys think is going to be the top pass rusher for the 49ers after Nick Bosa?
Who's first?
I think this one's Barry or Baller this time.
Okay.
Oh, I got to answer for this one, and it's Kamiko Toure. That's my instincts at the moment. Kamiko Toure, I thought he really came on strong. He came off an injury. I want to say it might have been an Achilles. Don't quote me on that, but he came on strong last season where he had 5.5 sacks. There it was. And when I watched the film on him, this dude's got an explosive element to his game. He's got good acceleration at the line. So when you're looking at pass rushing, and he's got the good hands. That's something that I like when I'm watching pass rushers. I want to see how they work their hands. Bosa's he's one of the best at it, Nick Bosa is. But Kamiko's flashing his hands, swatting them away. And that's why I'm going Kamiko Toure.
That's a good pick.
Thanks.
Sleeper pick. Because we got a lot of defensive players that aren't going to make this team, right? Because there's a lot of them. So I'm curious to know which ones aren't going to make this team. Is it going to be, since you're picking Toure, is it going to be a guy like Charles Omenihu, which they still have under contract? I don't know. It's going to be weird. My guy would be Samson Ebukam. I I think he's doing nothing but trending up. And if he's not traded, right, or whatnot, I think he's going to be the guy that's going to have the most upside. I mean, the kid has the power, he has the speed, and you saw it finally starting to come together toward the end of the season. It was just like, oh man, a few more games, he would have had probably about 6, 7, 8 sacks. You know what I'm saying? Because he was starting to get in the stride. I'm thinking he's full stride this year. I think they're going to move Kerry Hyder to the inside. They're going to kind of use him like they were using Arden Key last year. So I think Samson Ebukam, this is the season for him to go out there and let everybody know what he's going to do. I think it's going to be Samson.
Yeah, I agree with Breezy. I think Samson Ebukam is my favorite. And it's a point Jack made when I had him on my channel. Everyone was saying, "Oh, it's going to be Drake Jackson. It's going to be Drake Jackson." But Jack was there. He said he looks great in individuals, but he struggled. When he actually went up against some competition, whatever pass rush drills. So to me, I take Jack's word for what it is, and you go with the guy who has the most, like you said, the most experience. He came on late last year. I would love for Drake Jackson to be one of those things where, the Niners seem to unofficially have like the redshirt guys in a way. It's kind of, maybe they do draft with that in mind. I don't know, but I like to have somebody just learn behind a pro like Samson Ebukam and even Teray and not be counted on so early and let him develop because like Jack said, he looks great, doing drills and stuff, but he struggled mightily. And I was hoping he would be the dude. Maybe he still is, who knows? But yeah, I'm on the Samson Ebukam train as well.
All right. So now you guys took a bunch of them. You didn't take all the best ones, but you took some really good ones. I really liked the Kimoko Teray one, Barry Baller, because he is what everybody thinks Drake Jackson's going to become. He is that guy that's explosive off the start. The difference is that he actually can use his hands better than what I've seen out of Jackson so far. He's looked really good. Teray has. I'm a big Samson Ebukam believer. I really think that he's underappreciated and really came into his own last year when they finally started letting him play and giving him reps, because this is a guy who hasn't, when he was in with the Rams, Ebukam wasn't getting to focus just on doing one thing. He was bouncing back and forth between linebacker and edge. So just being able to sit on the edge and do that all year long, I really feel like him being the starting edge guy, kicking Eric Armstead inside is the best defense that they can do. Yeah. Hopefully they stick in that route, because I saw somebody, I think it was David Lombardi, say something about him coming inside, and I don't really like that, or outside. I don't want any part of Eric Armstead on the outside. I don't even care if it's base downs. I want that guy inside, because that's where he's best. He's not very good at containing the edge to put him out there. All right. All that said, the guy that's going to get the second most sacks behind Nick Bosa, it's going to be Eric Armstead. It's going to be Eric Armstead. Like it. Yeah.
From the interior, that'd be huge.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what it was in. I think didn't he had 10 in 2019, right? And which was more than Bosa had. I think. I don't know if it's going to be 10. I think Bosa's probably going to be up there again pretty high. But if Bosa's healthy, Eric Armstead's going to get he's going to get 6+ sacks. And the only guy that beat him out last year was your guy, Barry Baller, Arden Key, right? I don't know if they have a guy quite as good as Key. That's a position that's going to be interesting to watch, because I think that Charles Omenihu, who they're going to try to have play that role, maybe a little bit of Kerry Hyder.
Kevin Givens is my guy, Jack. I love me some Kevin Givens too.
As do I.
Yeah, and Kevin Givens is a really good player. I mean, the defensive line is almost everybody in that group is really good.
So deep.
Yeah, it is. And so I'm going with Eric Armstead. I just feel like if Nick Bosa is fully healthy this year, the whole way through, and Armstead stays healthy, he's going to put up at least 6, probably maybe even a sack more or so, and then he'll be the second guy. And I'm not just saying that because he got mad at me on Twitter, by the way.
Who got mad at you on Twitter?
Eric, man.
Eric, I think he has me blocked.
Oh, he might. Well, I block you too if I didn't know you.
Oh.
Wow.
No, that joke was funny though, Jack. That joke was funny, bro.
I'm kidding. No, it was good. I mean, hey, I thought, I felt, here's the way that I took it. I didn't feel like he was rude to me the way that some of the people that were responding to it thought. And then, I figured, I have a little bit of a sense of humor, which I let out every once in a while. So I felt, if he's talking about somebody, guiding everybody around, I figured that maybe he's saying that Nick Bosa is a Jedi. I don't know, because I don't know how else he could be guiding him around if he's not a Jedi. We'll see. No, but that was fun. That was good times, and yeah, that's what happens when you speak your opinion on Twitter, right? Let's go on. So we've talked a lot of defense. We've been on here for a while. Let's get on to some offense, so that everybody can get on with their Thursday night and get ready to go blow some stuff up in a couple of days. Let's start off with the offensive line. Buy or sell? Mike McGlinchey is the biggest concern on the offensive line.
Biggest concern.
Sell. I'm going to sell. I don't know. Was I going first because I went last?
That don't matter. You're fine.
I'm going to sell. I think our biggest concern on the offensive line is center. It's Brendel to me. I know he's a professional and he's been a backup his whole career. But to me, the center is a super important position, especially with a young quarterback like Trey Lance. The center and a quarterback have such a close relationship. It's like a symbiont, if there's a issue with the center, the quarterback who's young, it could be a scary. The Niners could have some problems. So to me, center and maybe right left guard with Aaron Banks. There's a lot of talk that he looks better, his body looks better, and that he came into camp more muscular, a little bit smaller, a little bit, I guess he looks quicker from what Trent Williams is saying. But yeah, center and left guard to me are two huge positions of concern. As much as I really have serious issues with Mike McGlinchey's pass protection, he's one of the best run blocking tackles in the NFL. So I'm less worried for him than I am the maybe left guard / center interior offensive line.
Go ahead, Wayne.
Go.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell too. I don't think Mike McGlinchey is gonna be an issue, especially if he's healthy. If he's healthy, you're gonna get the good fired up Mike McGlinchey. Just keep running the ball his way. Like you want him to do better in pass protection, give him some good runs, make him feel great. Offensive linemen love to run the ball anyway. Let that guy run to the right side and things will be better. Plus, I think Trey Lance enables the offensive line. I think his style of play being different than Jimmy Garoppolo, I think it's gonna help the offensive line just a little bit better. But I guess my biggest concern would be on the offensive line, even though you didn't ask the question, would be the interior. I mean, it's kind of like the unknown. And like he said, Aaron Banks, like, what is he going to really do? I'm not concerned with the center position because Jake and Trey been hiking the ball to one another for a whole year. So, like, the way I see it is they're going to be fine. They got their little connection, their little synergy, and let's just see how see what pans out for it. But my biggest concern will probably be the left guard spot because it's just we don't know what Aaron Banks is going to be yet.
I'm buying this, and it's mostly because of the injury element. We're talking about the center position. I'm not that worried about Brendel. As long as Brendel can put the guys in the right spot, make the right calls on the blitzes, and snap accurately in the shotgun. We don't need no snaps going over Lance's head. But as long as he can do that, I'm not too worried about it because the centers, I feel like they don't block one-on-one that often. They're usually working in tandem with a double team, and then get to the second level, try to pick up a linebacker. And apparently Brendel's really athletic. So I'm really not that worried about center. Left guard, I mean, Banks, that guy, he's a second-round pick. We got to see what he's got. They took him for a reason.
Yep.
So I'm having confidence in John Lynch there. And then right guard, Brunskill, who I'm penciling in at right guard again.
Ugh.
We know what Brunskill is like. He's solid. Like he's all right. He's good. He's kind of similar to Mike, where he's good in the run game, and then sometimes in pass pro, he can get beat up pretty bad usually by a powerful rusher. But Mike coming off the injury, I'm buying it. There's some concern across the offensive line, but I'm concerned about Mike.
Yep, I'm buying this 100%. Is that it's McGlinchey? I think I'm okay with that. I get it, and for me, it's really about the injury, and it's about if it's not Mike McGlinchey at right tackle, the Friars are going to be in. I'm more concerned about the Friars without Mike McGlinchey than I am with the other two guys that are taking over. You go back to last season with McGlinchey at right tackle, the 49ers had one of the best pass blocking offensive lines in the league. They were on pace to finish. If they had been able to keep that up throughout the year, they would have been. They were at 4.9%, which was the sixth or seventh best in the league at that point, meaning the percentage of dropbacks that resulted in sacks. When he was off the field, that jumped up to 7, which was in the bottom half. And then, as far as the run game, it took a little bit of a dip, not as much. It went from 4.4 to 4.3. So, it was a little bit, but it wasn't overly over the top. So I just feel like Mike McGlinchey needs to come out. He needs to play well, because if he's not there, you're looking at Justin School, who filled in okay for Joe Staley in 2019, or Jalen Moore, and Jalen Moore is a much better right guard than he is right tackle. At least that's what I've seen so far. So that's where I am on this one. All right.
You're not worried about School returning from his injury?
Schools look good, though. That's the thing, is you put School, School's been running with the first team he's been the guy that's been playing in place of Mike McGlinchey, and he's looked good. Wow. You take him out and you put Jalen Moore out there, and Jalen Moore has guys running around him. And he made Kamoko Toure look really good.
Okay.
I'm not trying to say that. I just said that Toure was a stud too, but you know what I mean. It's a high-level pass rusher. He made him look. There were some times if they were in a game, the quarterback that was on the field would just got blown up.
Man, I'm not a big School guy.
Me neither.
I like School. I don't know about you guys. I wish I could go back to school right now. Oh, you guys talking about Justin?
Boom.
Yeah.
You could tell we're all old. You could tell we're all old because we've hit that dad mode joke mode at a time of our life.
All right, I'm losing you guys. All right, so that was a bad one. Let's bring it back. This is going to be a good one, I promise. Buy or sell. Trey Lance is going to dramatically elevate the 49ers passing game in 2022. Remember now, the key here is that that dramatically might change your answer from what you might have thought of before.
Yeah.
Let's go with who's going first, Wayne?
I don't know if he's going to dramatically change it, elevate it, but I do believe he's going to elevate it. Dramatic means take it, all the way, to a whole nother level. I think he elevates the thing. The dramatic word is the word you shouldn't have ever threw in there. So
that's why I put it in there. I wanted to make the question hard for you.
Here's the thing. I'm all in on Trey Lance, so I'm buying this, yo. I think he dramatically elevates this offense.
Okay.
I feel you, Wayne. I feel you. Yeah, it's the wording on this question. Look, I'm gonna sell it, and that's me looking at it almost more from a statistical standpoint. Because on the field, I love what Lance is going to do. He's really going to open up the offense. Right now, we got someone who can chuck it 50, 60 yards down the field and hit Ayuk when he's open on that deep post, whereas Jimmy would never pull the trigger. So it's like I'm excited about Trey Lance, but drastically elevate the passing game. We know Lance is going to add a running element as well. He's going to rush for at least 5, 6, 7, 8 rushing touchdowns. So that takes away from the passing numbers, and the same thing with the rushing yards. I'm expecting at least 500, 600 rushing yards as long as Lance can stay healthy. So that's going to take away from some passing numbers. So it's a tricky question, but looking at it statistically, where Jimmy was, throwing for 3,900 yards a season, might be hard for Lance to get there, at least his first season as a starter, because we're going to be running the ball a lot too.
I'm going to sell as well. I feel like this is going to be, and this is not a hit on Trey Lance's skill or what he can become as in the future. I just think that there's definitely going to be a feeling out process with Kyle and Trey, especially early in the season. And I feel once the Niners have an idea of what Trey does well and what Trey, still maybe struggling with, I think the offense, as the season goes on, is going to develop into something that we're going to see from that point forward in his career, as long as he's a 49er. To come in and all of a sudden throw for 50 touchdowns and be the next Patrick Mahomes, I just think it's an unrealistic expectation. Plus, Kyle Shanahan is the judge, jury, and executioner of that offense, and what he says goes. And so it's not going to be like Trey Lance is going to be, out there freelancing all the time. He might do it sometime, but I just think there's still going to be that structure that maybe Jimmy played with. And like, as time goes on, as things develop and we see what Trey can do and what, I just don't think the Niners are going to be becoming like this run and shoot offense, like the old Oiler teams, where they're just going to throw it, for 500 yards a game and 50 attempts. I just don't see that, at least not right away, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. He comes out and throws like 6 touchdowns in his first game and he looks like the second coming of Joe Montana. I hope
Oilers.
That's the case.
Hold on. You're dating yourself there with that one. Oilers?
Yeah. The
Houston Oilers, man.
The run and shoot offense. Yeah. The early 90s.
That's what they were, man.
Shit, I was born in 90, so I missed
out
on
they
the
were a really
shoot.
good offensive team. They choked in the playoffs all the time.
Yeah.
Especially when they went up against Joe Montana in Kansas City. Ha!
I remember the Houston Oilers. Warren Moon.
He was so good.
Take me back. Yes. But
he was good in multiple leagues.
In multiple leagues, yeah. Before you answer this question, Jack, because I'm excited to hear, but to be fair with this damn question, you didn't say when either. So that's why I said that he would dramatically elevate the 49ers passing game. See, y'all mofos thinking he's going to do it in season 1. I never said that. I said that he would dramatically elevate this passing game. Now, Jack, please answer the question after I put that little disclaimer in there, because you didn't put that, since you want to get all dope with the wording, dramatically.
Get a little hot in here.
You're on mute, Jack. Go ahead and take it home, baby. Come on.
I'm over here talking to myself because Barry Baller doesn't even know who the Oilers are. And all I wanted to say is it's the Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers #1. It's the Houston Oilers. That's they used to have a fight song and everything.
That was their theme song. That was their fight song.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They had two good quarterbacks, in my opinion. Warren Moon, and then then Steve McNair, but he was the Tennessee tight. It was just weird. It was.
Hey, Ken Stabler was there. Dan Pastorini throwing it back to the Bay Area. Dan Pastorini, who was he played high school ball in San Jose at Bellarmine College Prep.
Now I'm going to be singing that theme song.
Yeah, see, now I got to stuck it. So see, Wayne's really going to be pissed off at me now, because not only does he not like my topic right here because I threw it in damn dramatically, but now he's going to be singing about the Houston Oilers all night when he gets home. So, but the thing here, I've gone back and forth on this one a number of times. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy it. And the reason let me explain why I'm buying it. Well, a big stat for me is the net yards per attempt for the offense. And I talked about it a lot during the season. I mentioned it in a tweet the other day. But the 49ers led the league in the net yards per attempt with 7.7. When you look at their team, Jimmy Garoppolo was like 7.6. But Trey Lance actually had a higher net yards per attempt at 7.83 or somewhere around there. And that is with Trey Lance having a completion percentage 11% below Jimmy Garoppolo. The 49ers moved the ball better through the air when Trey Lance was the quarterback, despite their quarterback having a number 11% lower when it comes to passing. So if he just improves, he keeps everything the same except for he adds on another 5% to his completion percentage, but everything else stays the same as far as the percentage of deep balls and all that kind of stuff, he's going to make a dramatic. It's a dramatic change, and I can see that happening with Trey Lance. And I don't know if it's going to be week 1, but hey, if he comes out and he plays week 1 the way he played week 17, yes, he'll do it, because week 17 was way better than a lot of what we'd seen from Jimmy Garoppolo. If he can carry that through a whole game. So I
Hey,
am
Jack, can
buying
I
it.
ask you, statistically, do you expect Trey Lance to exceed, like, let's just look at the passing numbers from Jimmy G last year, 3,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Do you expect him to exceed those numbers as a passer his rookie year?
Yeah, I put out a while ago. I expect him to come around. He's going to be over 4,000 yards, I think. I have him. If he plays all 17 games, it's 4,300 yards, 28 touchdowns, 14 picks is what I have him playing. So,
Wow, I would love that.
That would be
Yeah,
a fantastic first year.
And here's the thing: that number sounds really out there, but when you compare it to where they were as a team last year, it's not that big of a jump. Because last year, remember, Garoppolo had 3,900 yards, but he missed 2 games. He missed 2.5 games. And then you have, so they're right around that number last year anyway. So it sounds awesome, but it's really not that big. I mean, his number could be even bigger than that if he just gets his completion percentage up. That's that whole thing. He needs to get 5% more on his completion percentage, and the sky's the limit. And I think he's looked really good in training camp so far. He's looked like Jimmy Garoppolo with the ability to hit a couple of deep passes.
To me, it's all about that intermediate passing game. If he can master that, he could be really, really, really scary. Because that's kind of the question with him. The one thing that Jimmy did do good with all the zits and warts on his game, he could really, when he wasn't throwing it to linebackers, he could really, be somewhat surgical over the middle of the field and get those slants and those quick throws in there. But Lance last year, he struggled a little bit with that. He's got that, that freaking cannon for an arm in that delivery, where sometimes if you could just loft it over a guy instead of trying to put it through a guy and skewer him. So we'll see. That to me that's my biggest concern for him more than anything is if he can master that short passing game. I think the Niners are going to be in for a really good surprise.
Oh, that's a really good point you made right there. Was that ability to layer the ball over the top of those underneath defenders? Like if you go back to that Houston game early on when he was struggling, I think it was when he was struggling. Sorry, it was early in the second half. He had a wide open wide receiver at the second level off of play action instead of laying it, either holding onto the ball just a second longer or just kind of using a little bit of touch to get it over. He tried to drill it into him. The linebacker tipped it. If you remember that, the guy was wide open behind him. So that's something that I've seen him improve upon during OTAs. He's got more touch on his throws and he's able to layer the ball a little bit more. So it's going to be interesting to see how he progresses into training camp with that.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. And then it's getting late out there in the East Coast for Wayne and you too, Aaron. So let's get to the last one here. We've got one more. I don't think Wayne's going to get mad at me at this one. He might not like this one. We'll see. I said, buy or sell. This is going to the wide receivers. Brandon Ayuk is going to outperform Deebo Samuel in 2022.
This is a sell. This is an easy sell for me, at least. I don't know about you. This is an easy sell. I mean, Deebo, come on. Deebo is one of the top just athletes, players in the game. And Ayuk, I know a lot of people are expecting this breakout year for Ayuk. I'm not quite there. I think Ayuk is good. I don't see him. I don't want to get crucified, but I don't see him as a bona fide number one. And we don't need him to be that. That's Deebo. So no, I'm selling.
I'm selling too, only because I think, Deebo is the certified number one. Plus, you have Kittle, and I'm not saying that Ayuk's not going to have a great season. For me, I think the ability to get him the ball in places that Jimmy Garoppolo only could dream of is definitely going to improve his, overall stat line and how he looks just numbers wise. But I don't know. Deebo is just, I don't know. Something about Lance, he lacks something that Deebo has, and I can't. It's like it's not something you can like physically see or touch. It's. I don't know if it's just a dog in him that he has that maybe Ayuk doesn't have. Ayuk is supremely physically gifted and athletic. It's just, I don't know. I'm one of those people. I want to be proved right. I want to be proved right. I want to, right? Proved right. I want to be proved wrong as far as my prediction, because if he does give us something close or even outperforms Deebo, then that's a great thing. So, but I don't know. We've yet to see it from him. He was in the doghouse last year for whatever reason. We don't know. It could have been he just didn't like Jimmy Garoppolo very much, but he's going to have his chance this year. But I still think Deebo's the guy. And until proven otherwise, I'm going Deebo all the way.
Deebo's always going to be the guy, though, because that's just what he is. He's that guy. But it's year three. So about year three with these 49ers. Kittle, Deebo. It's IU time. And we're changing the guards, right? So now you're taking out one type of quarterback, you're putting in a different type of quarterback. This might be the year. As much as I love Deebo, and that's my guy, y'all know it. That's my number one. He's still gonna be number one. I don't care if Brandon Ayuk outperforms Deebo. Deebo's still the number one wide receiver.
Yep.
But this is the year for Brandon Ayuk, and you want to know why? Because Deebo is going to be double teamed, triple teamed, quadruple teamed. They're not going to want to let Deebo do anything. They're going to try to take Deebo, eliminate him. Brandon's going to see coverages, and Brandon's going to abuse them with a capital A. I think Brandon Ayuk will outperform Deebo Samuel in 2022.
All right. I'm going to go back. I'm taking this one. So Wayne's got the buy. The other two got the sell, and Barry Baller and 49ers First Takes, Aaron and Eric, they got the sells. I'm going to sell this one too. I've said this before, and you guys are going to crush me for it again probably when I say it, but Deebo Samuel is the best 49ers receiver that's played since Jerry Rice. I understand everybody thinks T.O. Deebo Samuel's better than T.O. He just needs to get the ball thrown to him enough to and stay healthy. If he stays healthy, it's not even going to be close by the time he retires. And, this goes back to the conversation that I just had with Jesse over on the Hammer and Nails, right? Maybe I'm a little too hard on T.O. because the league's different now. Who knows? I don't know. But I know that I see a guy who every time he touches the ball, he's a threat to take it to the house. And Deebo's the man. And I don't know if that's if Brandon Ayuk has that in him. Yeah, we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen him be the man or be able to take that was the whole talk going into last year was that he was going to be the man. It was going to be a big year. I like Deebo Samuel, obviously I like Deebo Samuel. I just said he's the second best receiver I've seen in the 49ers. But I like Brandon Ayuk. I think that he's going to take a step up, but I don't think he's going to have more yardage than Deebo. I think at the end of the day, they're both going to be 1,000-yard receivers. It's going to be the first time since I think it was 2000, and it might have happened in 2012. Maybe I don't remember when the last time with maybe 13 with Crabtree and Anquan Bolden. I think that was the last time the 49ers have had two 1,000-yard receivers in the same season. I think we'll probably see that this year, but I don't think that Ayuk's going to outperform Deebo Samuel. There we go.
So who scores more touchdowns, Deebo or Brandon?
Deebo.
It'll be interesting to see what happens because
I knew you wouldn't be able to answer that shit too because daggone well.
What do you mean I'm not going to be able to answer it? I'll tell you right. You want me to tell you? I'll tell you right now.
Tell me,
okay, hold on. Hold on. You don't yell at me on my show. God darn it.
Breezy. It's not good to get mad at your age.
I had it.
Not good for your ticker.
I'm not.
I had it. I wrote it down yesterday. Brandon Ayuk had 5 touchdowns. I think he had 10 targets.
Mm-hmm.
Those are in the red zone stats. And I think Ayuk had 5 total. All of his came in the red zone. He's a better red. And I think if I remember correctly, Deebo Samuel had 2 red zone touchdowns out of 9 targets. Mm-hmm. So whatever. If you want to get into touchdowns, the guy's going to score touchdowns is Juwan Jennings.
Oh, I mean, yeah, okay.
That's a good point.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But and I hear what you're saying. And it'll be. I'm looking to see. This goes back to the previous question with Trey Lance. How much different this offense is with Trey Lance at the helm? Do they try to throw the ball more in the red zone? Because they haven't done that. Last year,
That's true.
last year they only attempted 62 passes. I think they had a few sacks in there too, but they only had 62 attempts. The year before, back in 2019, they were closer to 90. They were a little bit higher. So, I think some of that was Garoppolo not playing out as well. Some of it was Deebo Samuel being used as a running back, and so they were getting some longer touchdown runs.
I just feel like you're not factoring in the playmaking ability of what Brandon Ayuk could do. As I get Deebo King. I get it. But you can have two kings, right? And I think that's what the 49ers want. So for me, I mean, outperform. What do we consider outperforming? Are we talking yards? Are we talking touchdowns? Like, what are we talking about? Are we talking drops? Because Deebo had the most drops. So, like, what are we literally talking about? How are we going to measure this? Is it going to be in yardage? Because you might be right. Deebo might get a 1-yard pass and take it 99 yards, and then Brandon Ayuk ends up with 99 yards or 98 yards total throughout the game, and Deebo just had that one that he was able to outrun the whole team. So you're right. There's times he's going to do stuff like that. But I think as far as wide receiver, I think you're going to see a big progression in Brandon Ayuk for the simple fact that, guys, this year, let's just call it like it is. He's not in the doghouse. I don't know why he was in the doghouse. I don't know what he did. I don't know who he made mad. He cursed out somebody, did something, didn't get people homework done. I don't know what he did. Whatever he did, he was in the house for a minute. Maybe he didn't want to block no rock, no block, no rock. Who knows what it is? We saw Deebo and Jack. I know you saw this. You saw Brandon become a better wide receiver blocker because you've been breaking down the film. You saw him catch passes throughout the middle of the field and make people miss. You saw him catch crazy sideline passes. This kid is going to be a problem. He just needs the opportunity. But you had the hot hand with Deebo. Do you force the ball to Deebo if he's bracketed and double covered and all that stuff? That's when you're going to make mistakes. So I think Trey Lance will dictate who's going to have the best season.
Okay, and I don't disagree with you. That's the thing, that's partly why I said that. I said it not in this, but in a tweet a long time ago that Ayuk was going to see a jump in his production because he's playing with the quarterback and Trey Lance, who's going to get him the ball downfield more often because he needs to get the ball downfield more often. I just don't necessarily think he's going to outperform Samuel. I think the numbers are still going to favor Deebo at the end of the year, but I think we're going to see an increase in production of Brandon Ayuk. So I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm down on Brandon Ayuk or saying that make it look like I'm saying he's going to have a bad year. I'm just saying he's not Deebo, and that's not very many guys are.
Not.
Because
no one's Deebo.
Well, and that's the thing, and he has that ability, like you guys have all said, and he's got that ability to take that short play and take it to the house. We haven't, other than and he's done that consistently. Whereas we've seen it from Brandon Ayuk a couple of times here and there. You can pull a couple of plays, but it's not on the consistent basis like we've seen from Deebo Samuel. But he's going to be a good player. I think he's going to get some those more downfield passes. Shoot. If you go back and you watch the NFC Championship game, if Trey Lance was playing quarterback in that game, I think the 49ers blow the Rams away.
They would have beat them by like 31 points.
There's
easily.
Eric's like, what?
It's a touchdown to George Kittle in the first play on the third play of the game.
The reason why I'm saying it is because Sean McVay wouldn't have been prepared for this kid, right? And so would Trey Lance have made mistakes? Absolutely, but he still would have been able to make certain throws, certain reads, and he wasn't injured. So, like, if you're playing with a guy that's going to be injured, at some point, even though it seemed like the game was ours pretty much, it's just that we couldn't get over this stupid hump. And then when the last opportunity, even if he would have put Trey Lance in on that last opportunity, say, hey, Trey, hey, man, we ain't got nothing to lose, man. Go out there and play some football. It's a small possibility we would have won that game. We lost by 3. So I'm with Jack. I think if Trey Lance would have started, it would have been a totally different outcome. They would have had a different game plan. Sean McVay would have had 0 answers for Trey Lance. And Trey, after he got through his little early game jitters, would have been slicing that defense up.
Eric, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, you got me. Oh, Eric, yeah.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Okay.
feeling good.
No, okay. I wasn't sure if you had something you wanted to say after with what I was saying about if Lance had started, because I know that I was the Jimmy guy, and Trey kind of swung me in week 17 with the throw to Kittle and some of the stuff that he did in that game. There's the throw to Kittle that he misses in the beginning. There are at least 2 other times where he takes checkdowns when he has Ayuk wide open over the middle of the field, and it looks great on the stat sheet, but. And I know the Friars had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter. If the quarterback just made the plays, all the talk about how bad the offensive line was in the fourth quarter at the end of the game doesn't happen because they're running the ball or trying to run the ball, because they should have blown them out. That game was like, there was no reason for that game to have been the score that it was at the end.
Trying to tell you.
I mean, if we're going to talk about missing reads, I hate to do it, but I got to bring up that Super Bowl. Because there was 2 plays in the second half where George Kittle is just wide open over the middle of the field. And Jimmy, what are you looking at? Jimmy's throwing interceptions with his eyes closed. I mean, come on, man. I'm ready for the Trey Lance era. I didn't want to change the subject, but if we're talking about missing reads, I start having flashbacks of that Super Bowl and Kittle wide open saying, "Give me the rock."
Yeah. No, there was. We can go through it. And again, and I like Jimmy Garoppolo, and from the standpoint that there was a lot of wins with Jimmy Garoppolo that weren't there before him. But you look for everybody that wants to talk about the record, we're comparing Jimmy Garoppolo to Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard. Right? There's a big difference there. And now you're comparing him to Trey Lance, who if you watch Trey Lance week 17, second half, so on, you saw what he could do. What I've seen of Trey Lance during OTAs is more of the same with that guy. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. And I want to say, Wayne, I'm sorry that I pissed you off.
Oh, bro, you never pissed me off.
I'm kidding with you.
I still think Brandon Ayuk gonna outperform him by 1 yard. I think it's 1 yard. That's why I was asking you, what are you measuring it by? What's the outperformance? I still want to know what your measuring tool is. Is it
I don't
yards?
Dramatically.
Oh, now you're gonna join in too, huh? All right, I see how this is. I was gonna thank all of you guys for coming on, but you know what? Heck,
I haven't said anything.
No. I thought you guys were cool, but I don't know, man. Now I'm starting to question myself over here. Bad choices by Jack.
I can't believe you threw in the word dramatically, bro. Like, out of all the adjectives and adverbs you could have used, you threw that one in there. That was a good one, though.
Well, it had to be done. It had to be done because otherwise it was going to be yes for everybody, and so that's why I had to put that in there. I figured if it was just that he's going to improve it, that's pretty much a no-brainer that everybody's going to say the same thing. So I wanted to just give you guys something else to think about. So it seems like it worked. And I just want to say, hey, you know what? I know it's late for you, Aaron, and for Wayne, you guys, it's both almost 11:30 out there. I want to say thank you to all 3 of you guys for joining, especially you guys for making staying up so late. But I just really appreciate you guys doing this. Instead of doing a call-in show, get 49er fans on and just talk and just cut it up. I think this was just a little bit different format I wanted to
I had fun.
I had fun, man. Thanks
Jack,
for
that was a blast. Being with 3 legends because I'm the rook in the game, right? My channel just hit over 1,000 subscribers, so I'm trying to get on you guys' level. You guys want to? I just put out some Talanoa Hufanga footage where I was cutting up because he started 3 games last year, week 8, week 9, week 10. So I've been cutting up some Huff footage and highlighting how he's playing. So if you want to check that out, my channel, Bay Area Baller 18, you see it on the screen. But Jack, thanks for having me on. Aaron and Wayne, it was a pleasure. I had a blast.
Thank you.
Love, brother. Love,
absolutely.
Brother. It's funny that you said he only started 3 games. Remember, Jimmy Ward was like 3 games. That's it. He was out there on the field more than 3. So it's cool because it seemed like he started way more than 3 games. He was
on the field. He was on the field every game.
Facts.
Yeah, he was out there. He was out there a lot. So it's easy to see why Ward would think that, because he was definitely on the field quite a bit. So I just want to thank everybody, all you guys, for doing this though. So, and if anybody wants me to come on their channel, just hit me up. We'll do it. And I enjoy going on other people's channels sometimes more than talking on my own, because I don't have to worry about being the guy that leads it. I just get to talk. So
definitely.
thanks to all of you so much. Real quick to everybody in the comments section, you guys have been really going. I see you guys talking and having a good time over there. So hopefully everybody enjoyed the show tonight. We'll keep doing this, and make sure you check all three of these guys out because they all have their own channel: Barry a Baller, 49ers First Takes, and Wayne Breezy. Make sure you check out their YouTube channels and give them some love. And if you're not already subscribed to them, do that. And then while you're here, like Harold is saying, he says, hit those likes. That's the biggest one, guys. When you hit those like buttons, that's what helps with the algorithm. So hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button, too, if you're here and you're not already subscribed to my channel. Make sure you get to theirs as well. And then also hit the little bell notification so you know when we all go live so that you can watch all the 49ers content that your head can take. So thank you all very much. Thank you guys for helping make this happen. And as somebody said in the comment section a few minutes ago, there were some really great topics. And, I didn't come up with them on my own. You guys put out, it was a group effort. You guys each put in as many as I did. And I really appreciate all the effort you guys did. So thank you so much.
No
Thank
problem.
you, Jack. Appreciate you, fam.
Have a great rest of your Thursday night, everybody. And whatever day you're watching this, have a great time. Take it easy. Take care. And we'll talk to you soon.